Well, hi there, chaps. This is Craig, who's Craig's got one hell of a story because you do the whole bushcraft stuff, and that's how I found you on YouTube.
Yeah.
And when I first started watching this guy's video, I'm like, why is he so bloody happy? He's like annoyingly happy, and I mean that in a nice way. Then I started watching your story and your videos and all this because you do the bushcraft, isn't it? Basically, I've never seen anyone light a fire how you light a fire.
Yeah, I do all woodland-based bushcraft stuff and wild camping, and then I throw a few random crazy camps in there. I've camped on an old shipwreck and stuff like that.
No, that's how I found you. That was a pin mill one. That was an incredible
Yeah.
video. That was really
Oh,
good video actually. So
good.
I'd say the good thing is about you, mate, is I think a couple of weeks ago, because of all this charity stuff, and I do run my own business, I was just like, when you feel like you're burning out, you're burning the candle at
Oh,
both
yeah.
ends.
Yep.
And then I ended up like just going, right, I'm having a couple of days off, and just end up just watching most of your videos, mate. So literally just like chilling out. Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate that. But Craig, you've got one hell of a story, mate. Tell us about yourself, mate.
So I had a really good upbringing, two lovely parents, really nice family. My dad was a military man. I never really knew what I wanted to do as a kid. So naturally, I think through my dad, I wanted to join the military and become a sniper like him. So I joined up at 16, got my sniper qualification within like 3 years. And then I went on my first Afghan tour in 2012, where I was attached to the US Marines for quite a few patrols and stuff and done a lot of work with them. They sent all their snipers home and realized half of them were staying for another 4 months. So they requested some British snipers. So I was one of the lucky ones, unlucky, to go and do a lot of work with them. Done a second Afghan tour. They were both 7 months, and got out and done an electrical engineering apprenticeship, and here we are.
See, I just do you know what? Because funny enough, because obviously I kind of already know your story from what you said for YouTube, and you just don't look the type.
Everybody says that, man, and like for some people have called me the baby-faced assassin.
I'll take that. You need a t-shirt. You need a t-shirt for that, man.
I know, right? But yeah, man, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, really.
Wow, no, that's amazing. Because the other thing I admire about you is you the way you talk about mental health is so natural.
Yeah.
And that because I think maybe now I'm classed as a mental health campaigner, charity runner, whatever else.
Yeah.
I think my biggest fear is being very, very scared of having my mental health hat, my dad hat, my husband hat, and then only talking about it when it's relevant to that conversation. Have I made sense on that?
Yeah, you can make complete sense there, mate.
But with you just like I watch your videos, you're always on about encouraging people to talk, and you said about your own mental health and all this kind of stuff as well. And I'm just like, you're quite a rarity, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I talk about it. It's something I talk about a lot because after my second Afghan tour, my 2IC, my second in command of my sniper section, took his own life. And I was only speaking to him a couple of days before it happened. We were talking about literally as kids, life in general, music. And yeah, he took his own life. And I got the phone call like 2 days after it happened, and like instantly, as you can imagine, you're more than like a good friend. Like you live and breathe each other, like day in, out, especially when we've been out on tour and stuff like that. And yeah, it kind of sent me a little bit off the rails, I guess, because of that, because I felt like I could deal with the things in Afghanistan and stuff like that, but to think that someone would come home when they've been in the most dangerous place in the world and suffer that much that they've taken their own life is baffling, and suicide is the biggest killer in men under 35, which is just crazy. That's a scary stat.
Yeah, I'm really scared to see what the stats will be after COVID.
Yeah, I know, and that it'll be insane. And yeah, so that sent me into like I had almost like an anger against the world. I started becoming a bit of a recluse, pushing my friends away. I was drinking heavily. I was just kind of trying to find this buzz, I guess, that I was just had no motivation. Motivation was like my biggest thing. I was always quite headstrong as a kid growing up. I enjoyed my own company, so I was always quite headstrong, and yeah, I just started becoming a recluse, as I say, and just wasn't in a good place. And I could be in a group of people and everyone could be talking and I was there, but my mind was not there. I probably wouldn't remember that conversation the next day. I didn't take on board anything. I become quite self-centered as well. Like I think when you're kind of like that, you think the world revolves around you a little bit. So people would be telling me
I,
great
I,
achievements in life, and I just wasn't interested in hearing it. And these were like good friends of mine.
yeah. Wow. So you had people just saying like, Craig, you need to sort yourself out then, did you? Or...
Yeah, and it got to a point where it was the funeral day, my grandma's funeral. My parents have divorced now,
Yeah.
but it was the day of my grandma's funeral, and I just got really drunk in the day, and I was supposed to be there to support my mum. We ended up having a massive argument after the funeral. She ended up basically kicking me out, calling my dad to come and get me. And then I just had a full breakdown. And it was my dad put me onto a charity called Veterans at Ease. And I had some one-to-one webcam sessions with a guy called Gareth from that charity. And that was like the eye opener for me, that I wasn't there for my mum. And like that was the point where I was just like, I need to change.
Wow. Okay. Do you reckon there was any signs where you thought what you ignored before you hit that point?
I mean, yeah, I think I knew that I wasn't connecting with my friends and I wasn't talking to my family. I mean, there was big hints from my mum. You know, she would text me saying, "You haven't called or text me in weeks," because she lives up in Durham. So like, they were the telltale signs that I realised, hold on, I haven't called my mum in so long. I haven't spoke to this friend in so long. I've got no motivation to do any hobbies. I could barely get my ass out of bed to go to work. So yeah, I think that day was the real eye opener.
Wow. Okay. And then what was that charity you said again? Sorry.
It's called Veterans at Ease.
Well, because that's funny enough. That's one thing. We've got a few veterans who follow the page, and they all
Yeah.
always message the page. And it's the hard thing about the veterans. I don't mean this how this sounds. Is they'll message the page, but because we don't know too much about them, you can't send a veteran to sometimes the Samaritans. They need to speak to other vets.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
that. Does that kind of make sense? And
Yeah,
it's just
it's that being on a level as well, because that was the thing for me. I never wanted to talk to anybody because I thought no one would understand, because unless you've kind of been there and done it. So a lot of mine was obviously the grief of my friend's suicide, but mixed in with things that I'd been through abroad. You'd think nobody can understand, no one's going to listen, no one's going to really know, if you get me.
Yeah, I think that's fit. I think that's something I really struggle with, and I struggle with it. But I'm very, very lucky because I know bits about PTSD. I'm well aware it's not a one size fits all. Like
Yeah,
I'm on class as high functioning BPD, which is borderline personality disorder.
yeah,
I'm totally different to probably everyone else who's got BPD. But I think
yeah,
with PTSD, I'm very lucky that I get to learn about it
yeah,
rather than having to live with it.
yeah,
I think that's one of the things with people who promote and talk about mental health, who care for others.
yeah,
I think we sometimes have got a habit of saying, I understand, I feel, I know what
yeah,
you're going through. Actually, I haven't got a fucking clue what it's like to sit there in Afghanistan
yeah,
and
yeah. I mean,
I
I
can't even try to, yeah.
get, like, the way I explained it all to Gareth when I was doing the one-to-one webcam sessions, he basically put it down as being a complex PTSD, because I didn't get flashbacks and I wasn't struggling to sleep at night and stuff like that. It was like anger. People could look at me funny and I would like want to kick off at them, and just, yeah, the motivation, the emptiness feeling of feeling worthless, I guess. And I stopped trusting everybody. Like, I thought I was so paranoid all the time because I thought, like, you know, people going behind my back, or like my trust for everybody just went. And then once you lose trust with people, that just sends you down.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know how to come back from that. I'm literally lost for words on that, really. I literally don't think, but
And it's all right. So I'll just keep talking so you don't have to.
no, go on, well, yeah, go on, because yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I started like, don't get me wrong, I was not an abusive person at all. I've always been pretty mellow and I get angry, but I don't get violent or anything like that. But I started like neglecting my missus, I guess. I wasn't giving her as much attention. And then I was saying I was self-centered. I was kind of doing my thing. and I was only interested in doing what I wanted to do, and I wasn't, you know, just the compliments and stuff, just the day-to-day relationship things that I guess normal couples would do. I was just like, oh, if we'd be unpacking the shopping, or, you know, and she put something in the wrong cupboard, I'd be like, oh, it doesn't go there, and I'd just kick off a bit. And you know, if you get what I'm saying.
It is actually, because it's funny. I know you're not on Facebook yourself, but there was a guy called Dino. He had PTSD, and that was a hard video. But he said his tipping point was his missus bought a bigger bag of sugar, but because he done the same thing he's done for years. He's got the bag of sugar to fill up the sugar pot, but it overfilled.
Yeah,
that tipped him over the. That tipped him over the edge. So
mad, isn't it? It could be little things like that. But I think because when you're on tour and you're in that environment and you trust the people you're working with so much, you know, if you the only way we can relate it to people, that bag of sugar, if that was someone had brought the wrong ammunition, or someone had not brought the correct radio batteries or something, that has a knock-on effect to the whole team, the whole patrol. And that tiny little mistake is not a little mistake, it's a big deal. So the only way to transfer that into normal life is them bags of sugar to us who aren't in a good place. That's the major thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I do. Yeah, you're a wise man, dude.
I've chilled out a lot, man. Like, I think because I'm so lucky, because I've had a supportive missus and she's always been there for me. My family's been amazing. A lot of people have got it a lot worse. I'm very fortunate like that. I've got a lot of people looking out for me, and I've got a good friend that I met at work a few years ago. He used to work in social care and stuff like that, and he became a really good friend very quickly. And it was almost like I've been getting free counselling sessions day in, day out, all day at work. And his name's Ben Cox, and he's basically singularly changed my mindset and my outlook on life just by spending time with him. And he's just got this positive vibe, which I've learned from, and I'm trying to project that positive vibe onto other people to say, look, you can turn anything around. You just need to be positive, be happy, and be happy with the little things in life. Don't overlook the small things.
No, so what, now you passed all of that, or should I say past? Now you know how to live with it.
I know how to live with stuff. And a lot of the webcam sessions I did with Graham was like neurological, like brain training, how you think in situations. And I was very quick. I had a very short fuse. And now if I stop and think, and I think, what's the knock-on effect of my actions? Or, you know, I can't remember the quote, but they say, you know, if you had X amount of money in the bank and someone took £10, would you give the rest away? You wouldn't do that. If one person ruins your day for 10 seconds, are you going to write off that whole day? Just, you know what I mean? And I found nature, man. I started camping. I'm one of these guys that I've tried every hobby under the sun, and I've always got bored quite quickly.
Yeah.
And that was another thing, that I didn't want to practice my hobbies and stuff. I just wanted to sit at home and watch YouTube and stuff. And I went camping one day with a friend and realized everything I was looking for, I already had right in front of me. It was what I did in the military, but this way I can do it my way. I can have a fire and good food and beer and, you know, learn more about the environment. It's not all focused on the military.
Wow. So what kicked you up the backside to do that first camp?
It was my friend who's on Instagram as the Bush Ape. I saw him with all his military kit. He's still serving. Wow. He took all his kit out and did a little solo camp, and I went down and had a beer with him, and I was just like, mate, I've got to come and do this. You know, it's just like all the things I loved about being a sniper, but like I say, doing it our way. And then I started going with him every week. His missus got pregnant, so he stopped going, and I just carried on my own. And someone said, oh, mate, you should make a YouTube channel. And then one week I did. I started filming videos on my phone, and I was like, actually, this is quite fun. And I found a passion in making videos, and then more passion about nature. And the more I go, the more I love it, man. I feel so free out there.
Yeah, I think, because funny enough, actually, I think you kind of know Phil, don't you? But remember I was saying about the guy who follows you, Phil?
Yeah.
He's actually one of the trustees, and he's into all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What did he ask? He did say to me, I said to him, when if I'm going to ask him then, because he was a bit jealous of I've got you on here, and he said on there, so what aspects? This is a question, so I apologise,
Yeah.
a bit messy. I do apologise, hanging out my arse. What aspect of wild camping do you find helps your mental health, and why would you recommend it to others?
I recommend it to others because it's like you feel completely free. You don't, there's so many rules today. There's so many things you can and can't say. You have to act a certain way. Like the whole social side of life is very set out of, yeah, people are judgmental, man, and you can go to the woods and be whoever you want. You can be yourself, man. You can just let go and just, yeah, there's no feeling like it, mate. It's just an ultimate sense of freedom, I find personally.
Well, so I don't like tents. I think I said this, and
Yeah,
I hate tents. But after
yeah,
watching your videos, I'm just like, do you know what? For the sake of 30 quid, I've already looked on Amazon. For the sake of 30 quid of getting the kit, that's it. And I live on a farm, so I'm so lucky.
yeah,
I don't own it or anything, but so I'm so lucky. I'm just sort of got little woods and stuff like that. I'm just going to
yeah,
give it
no,
a go, because I think with me, my biggest struggle is because my bread and butter is marketing. I'm always
yeah,
here,
yeah,
always on the phone, and it's so rare that I can just turn off from social media.
yeah,
So I'm always well aware that actually if I push it another 3, 4, 5 days,
yeah,
I'm always on that spectrum of burning out.
yeah. Okay.
Sometimes, and I'm just like, I literally fell in love with your videos, and I'm like, do you know, I need to do all that, because I used to dabble with it when I was younger, like years ago. To be fair, I
Yeah,
used to run away. I used to run away from home a lot. That's like a different story, but yeah.
yeah. Like there's people are quite anxious about wild camping as well, because there's people are scared of the woods or getting told to move on by other people or stuff like that. But I found the more I go, like, the more relaxed you get, and the less you think about the negatives, I guess, because there's not a lot of negatives, but there are places you're not supposed to camp and stuff like that, so you do have to bear that in mind and check these places out before you go and stuff. But yeah, it's a cheap hobby, man. As long as you're fed, watered, you're dry, then you're good to go.
Well, I think it's a bloody good way of. I'm not recommending this because
Yeah,
I can't recommend it now because of a charity
yeah,
and all this kind of stuff.
yeah,
But I can totally see why you do it and stuff
yeah.
like that. Just like do you end up obviously you take technology because you have to, but do you just turn your phone off and just have your
Oh,
break time?
yeah, man. There's a lot of places I go. There's no signal, so I can't like connect with people if I wanted to. But it's a great way. It's the whole disconnect to reconnect
Yeah.
thing. You come home and you appreciate everything a little more. You can't just go and sit on the toilet. Stuff like this. It's the
Yeah.
little thing. It only takes one night out to sort of appreciate what you've got a little bit more as well.
That's
But
a good
yeah,
way of
I'm a
looking at it. Yeah.
lover, man, and I feel more inspired every time I go, and I want to learn more. Learning my trees, and I've started learning some foraging bits and stuff like that. So it's like a whole nother level of it. Keeps just opening more doors the more I go along.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. So I think you've already answered it. But if somebody's watching this, let's face it, I'll probably end up calling this sniper and mental health or something like that,
Yeah,
if that's all right
yeah,
with you.
that's fine, man.
If there's somebody, I'm going to presume it's going to be mostly squaddies and vets and all this kind of, just because of
Yeah,
the title. If
yeah.
they're sitting here and they're going, I can relate to this guy. What's your advice if they're struggling a little bit? They might not even know they're struggling, but they can relate to what you've been saying. What's your advice as a man and as a ex-forces, retired forces?
Yeah, I would say dig deep and talk to somebody. You don't have to spill your whole heart out. Just tell someone you're not feeling that great, or you're having a few depressive days, or a few grey days, or you're unmotivated. I would recommend talking to someone, anybody, a friend, a work colleague. You don't have to go straight to a charity. You don't have to go straight to your parents or someone like that. Someone you trust, just talk to somebody, and it gets easier. The more you talk, the easier it gets, and then something inside you will flick where you'll just want to go and get help because it's the right thing to do.
And when you asked for help yourself, did you feel judged whatsoever?
Yeah, of course I did, man. There's still a stigma there, and this is why we're doing this. We're trying to break this stigma, and the more people that talk and the more people that open up, the quicker we're going to get rid of that stigma, and the more we're going to move forward with this. You know, mental illness, you don't have to be diagnosed with anything, just everybody has bad days, and
Yeah.
mental illness needs talking about. You know, the brain's just another muscle, so you wouldn't neglect a muscle ache, or you wouldn't neglect a broken leg, so why neglect your brain?
Yeah, no, it's a bloody a real valid point.
It's
But
not a muscle, is it? It's an organ. But you get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. No. But let me rephrase that question very, very slightly then.
Okay.
Were you judged when you asked for help?
Probably not to my face. No, no, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
Probably not then.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, because that's the main thing is when the odd people message the paper like, oh no, I'm not going to say anything. Everyone would judge me.
Yeah,
I don't think they will.
No, they don't. They don't judge you. They'd probably judge you in a positive way. Like, look at this is why we're connecting. You've probably judged me and thought, I want to speak to him because he's talking openly about mental health. So yeah, you get judged in a positive light.
No, absolutely that. Yeah, no, I think the main thing is since starting MANUP, what bloody hell, 2 years ago, I've had directors of banks message me. I've had a client who's been one of my larger clients for a number of years. He was like, yeah, I had a full-blown mental breakdown like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, just never knew. So for me, it's actually made me see people completely and utterly differently, but in a good way.
It could be anyone, yeah. Could be anyone. And this is the thing, what someone might see as a big issue, what someone might put themselves down and not want to talk because they think, oh, my issue's not as big as so-and-so's issue. So, you know, I don't like I can talk about it. There's no judgment. If you're feeling sad or down, you're feeling sad and down, regardless of the issue. Everyone lives a different life. So problems are problems at the end of the day. A big problem to one person might be a small problem to someone else, but we all deal with things in a different way, you know, and that's a big problem to that person.
That was a good video, man.
Thanks, mate.
No, that was a really good video. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll do the whole taggy thing on the Facebook and all this kind of stuff. But let me just hit the stop recording 1 second.